Welcome back to More Than Mail from House of Faith in Hudson, Florida. It's good to have you guys here. Tonight we're going to talk about gifts. And I'm not talking about the cute little pictures on Facebook. I'm talking about gifts, G-I-F-T-S. And specifically the gifts that each of us gets from God, our natural God-given talents and abilities, things that we're real good at. And this came up, we had a men's meeting call a couple of weeks ago, and there was an evangelist named Brian Johnson who is a rapper, and he was talking about how he struggled when he was young because he had the gift of rap. He had the gift, he had the words, he had the rhythm, he had, everything going on, yet he was still part of the church as well. And his particular church didn't like the fact that he was a rapper, even though it was clean, and but he did have ideas of doing it for a living as he was growing up, and he said that it was hard for him to have one foot on the street and one foot in the church. And when he said that, that really made me think that so many of us, especially younger people, have that problem, have that dichotomy that they have to solve. And the way that he put it was that the church didn't sanction his gift. And he's older now. He's probably not as old as I am, but back then rap was one of those real bad things. Now there's Christian rap, there's all kinds of rap, so it's a more open field for something like that. But it did make me think about gifts. It made me think about what my gifts are and why I have those gifts. And I know you guys love to hear me tell my stories, but when I was a little kid, I had an athletic gift. I was real good at football and real good at baseball, and it was all natural. It was nothing that I ever worked at or anything like that. It just, when I stepped on the field, I had what it took. And so as I grew up, what started to happen was that I used that gift to survive. I used that gift to avoid conversations. I used that gift to get out of trouble. I used it to, whatever it was, but it was to further me. It was to always benefit me. And then as a teenager, I started getting into music. And I can tell you that was not a gift. It was an interest, and it was something that I wanted to do, but it wasn't something that I was good at. And I can tell you that that's the first thing in my life that was ever hard for me that I stayed with. Everything else, if I didn't get it right away, I just walked away from it. And so it's been almost 40 years now that I've been playing guitar, and it's hard. And I work and I practice and I learn, and it takes forever. But as it turns out, that's the thing that I do most now. And what I want to get to is something that my wife said to me way before she was my wife. I was in Colorado and she was in Virginia, and I had played a couple of gigs and was trying to get some more gigs, and I just wasn't really happy with the way things were going. I wasn't satisfied with it. I wasn't satisfied with my own performances. I wasn't satisfied with the crowds, the money, nothing about it. And she said to me on the phone, she said, maybe it's because you're doing it for your own glory instead of God's. And at that time, I had not even thought about starting my walk with God yet, but she had had God's heart her entire life, so she knew what she was talking about. But for some reason, no matter how cynical I wanted to be and no matter how much I wanted to dismiss it, those words just wouldn't go away. And as I have started my walk now and I'm learning about God and I'm learning about Jesus, I'm learning how this works, and I'm surrounded by people who constantly teach me, I realize that, and this is going to blow y'all away, and some of you might be a little bit upset, but our gifts are not for us. I'm going to say that again. God did not give us the gifts for ourselves. God gave us the gifts that we have to benefit others and to benefit his kingdom, to further his kingdom. That's why we have these gifts. And musically, that has changed everything for me. That changes the way I look at everything. And I will tell you that I've played all kinds of places. I've played bars, I've played coffee houses, I've played all over the place, several different states. And I've never felt the way that I feel every Sunday while we're doing praise and worship. Because that's my gift to God. That's a gift that he gave me that I'm giving back to him. And I can't explain the freedom, but as I play, it's not really me playing. It's kind of him playing through me, and the pressure's off. And I don't have to run around after the service asking people if they thought I was good, which is what I used to do all the time. You know, what people's opinion, what people thought of what I did meant everything to me. And if they didn't like it, I was crushed. And I'd want to quit. But this is different. When you do it for God, it's when you give to God, it's blessed. It's accepted. It's treasured. It's always heard. And it's just different. It changes everything. So if you're one of those people, especially young guys growing up, and you got one foot on the street and one foot in the church, first of all, thank God you have one foot in the church. That's a start. And Brian, the gentleman that I mentioned before, as he got more into the actual business of music, he ran into a lot of problems. And the guys that he was working with and writing with and all those things, they started going to the dark side. And he said it was real good music, but he couldn't be part of it because his heart was with God. And so at one point he refused. And he said one of the guys took him outside and you know, he thought it was just to talk to him, and he shot at it. But he stood his ground. And he said he was 19 years old at the time. And I think of myself at 19, and I know that I would not have that kind of faith and that kind of strength. I know that I wouldn't. I would have folded. I would have gone with the crowd. So this is something to think about, guys. I mean, because at some point that choice is going to come. You're going to have to make that choice between what's right and what's wrong. And making the wrong choice, and I can tell you from experience, because I made the wrong choice millions of times, but making the wrong choice is a choice. It sends you down the wrong path. And it takes active intervention, and it takes an active decision to get back to the right side. So if you're in that place where you got one foot on the street and one foot in the church, talk to the people in the church. Talk to the people in the church. Let them know how you feel. Let them know what's going on with you. Let them know that you have this gift, and you know it's in you, and you know it's in you for a reason. But just remember that your gift is not for you. Your gift is for God. Thanks for being here on More Than Male. We'll see you next time. Thank you.